Welcome back for another episode of the Sports Playbook, where I'll give you a rundown of what's been happening in the world of sport over the last 7 days. You're joined by your host, Demos. This week has been a huge week in sports, so you know the drill. Let's get right into it. In golf, Rory McIlory wins the Masters and completes his story. Rory won the coveted green jacket that he had been searching for in the past. He broke an 11-year majors drought to win his first Masters. Breaking down in incredible scenes, Rory was surrounded by his family and friends, namely his partner and his daughter, for that magical moment. For the 35-year-old, this was his 11th attempt of winning the Masters. Perseverance really pays off. Well done to Rory. In basketball, Georgie Amoore from Australia has been picked at number 6 in the draft for the WNBA. The 24-year-old was drafted by the Washington Mystics. Amoore has been playing as a guard for Kentucky Wildcats in the NCAA Division I. It's the highest an Australian has been picked in the WNBA draft since 2011, with Liz Campage being picked at number 2. Amoore was actually styled by NBA superstar Russell Westbrook, who plays for the Denver Nuggets. No athlete has ever dressed or styled another athlete, so there's a world first. Also in basketball, Matthew Dellaveoda signs for the Sydney Kings on a multi-year deal. The 4-time Olympian has signed with the Sydney Kings on a 3-year deal starting from the 25-26 season. With 532 NBA games and 52 playoff games, it will be a huge coup for the Kings franchise heading into the new season. Dellaveoda will move from Melbourne United, where they recently lost the championship, to Illawarra Hawks. In football, Mary Fowler goes down with a knee injury in the FA Cup semi-final. In a devastating blow for Matildas, Fowler went down midway through the first half. In a change of mood direction, it appears Fowler's knee has buckled underneath her. The injury rubs salt into the wounds for the Manchester City side that lost 2-0 to crosstown rivals Manchester United. Whilst the extent of the injury is unknown, the Matildas medical team will be sweating on those results for Mary. The next match for the Matildas is some friendlies up against Argentina, starting in Melbourne on May 30th. In the NRL, Lachlan Galvin to leave the West Tigers from the end of the 2026 season. Galvin has decided he would like to put his services up on the player market. The 19-year-old has knocked back a $5.5 million 6-year contract extension with the West Tigers. As his services are only available from 2027, Lachlan Galvin will only be able to receive formal offers from clubs from November 1st, as that is the start of the contracting window to deal with rival clubs. You can probably expect at least 8 teams to be fighting over the services of Galvin. But to make matters even more interesting, Galvin is set to be scrapped from the team this week that goes up against the Parramatta Eels on Easter Monday. With Parramatta expected to welcome their champion halfback Mitchell Moses back into the team for his first game of the 2025 season, I'm sure this story will be played out over the next weeks and months as Lachie Galvin looks to test his services. Also in NRL news, Spencer Leniu and Jonathan Thurston come to blows verbally. On Friday night, after the Roosters defeated the Broncos up in Brisbane, Spencer Leniu from the Roosters and Channel 9 commentator Jonathan Thurston had a run-in on field. It appears it started when Leniu came off the field during play and had some colourful language towards Thurston. Leniu went after Thurston made public comments around the Las Vegas 2024 racist comment that Leniu made about Brisbane Broncos player Ezra Mam. It resulted with Leniu being suspended for 8 weeks in the competition, and Thurston believed that the NRL should have cracked down harder and given Leniu a longer-term suspension. However, when Ezra Mam was found guilty of causing a car crash with drugs in his system and injuring a young girl, he only received 9 weeks suspension from the NRL. What I think is even more bizarre with this incident is the NRL has failed to investigate the incident, as they said no formal complaint has been made. It's quite interesting though, as this has played out very publicly, as the two came to blows in the middle of the field post-match for everyone to see. In athletics, Gout Gout has gone under 20 seconds for the 200 metres in a wind-assisted run. The 17-year-old has set the track on fire in the Australian Athletics Championships in Western Australia. In the 200 metre final, with an illegal tailwind of 2.2 metres per second, Gout Gout has clocked a 19.84 second run to win the open age category. Closest rival and friend of Gout Gout, Lachlan Kennedy, was disqualified from this race due to a false start after already being warned. At the same championships, Peter Bowl broke the national 800 metre record, crossing the line with a 1 minute 43.79. Rowan Browning also won the 100 metre men's final by 5 thousandths of a second over Lachlan Kennedy with a 10.01. In the AFL, Gather Round has wrapped up with some key results. The Brisbane Lions came from 39 points down early in the third quarter to take the win over the Western Bulldogs, 118 to 97. It seems to be the trend of the weekend that a come from behind victory was on the cards, as Geelong were also down by as much as 30 in the second quarter and came through with a 19-point victory over the Adelaide Crows, 119 to 100. The GWS Giants also put in a solid performance, beating St Kilda 110 to 82, but Port Adelaide took down the near top of the table Hawthorn, 121 to 91. After the round, Brisbane Lions are on top of the ladder by a 4-point margin. They are closely followed by the Gold Coast Suns, the GWS Giants and Collingwood. And in netball, the Thunderbirds and Swifts have a strong round 2. The Swifts have won a tight contest against the Melbourne Mavericks, 68 to 62, in front of a packed Ken Rosewell Arena. Grace Wecke proved why she's one of the best shooters, with a 96% goal accuracy throughout the match. The Thunderbirds also proved far too strong for the Sunshine Coast Lightning, winning 60 to 45. Even not at 100%, Thunderbirds defender Shamira Sterling-Humphrey showed why she's one of the best in the league, with 11 gains, 3 intercepts and 5 rebounds. Separately, the Queensland Firebirds continued their strong start after dispatching the West Coast Fever, 67 to 54. The Melbourne Vixens also got their first win of the season, beating the Giants 61 to 55. The Thunderbirds lead the competition based off the best for and against, with the Swifts on the same points. And with that, we will take a short break and after get into your burning rubber breakdown. It is time for your burning rubber breakdown. Let's burn it up. In Formula 1, Oscar Piastri sends a message to his title rivals and dominates in the Bahrain Grand Prix. From the pole, Oscar led from start to finish to win his second race of the season and his fourth of his career. George Russell hung on to second place after an electrical gremlin came over the car. He held off Lando Norris in third place. Other notables from this race was Verstappen, finishing in 6th place in a disappointing result for Red Bull. You had Haas claiming another double points finish, with Esteban Ocon finishing 8th place, and with Ollie Behrman starting from 20th to finish 10th to claim the final point from that race. Yuki Tsunoda also claimed first points since joining Red Bull, finishing in 9th place. However, the rumours of Max Verstappen leaving Red Bull have become even more heightened after a post-race incident with his manager and Helmut Marko in a very heated exchange. This is sure to be something to play out, and I'm almost positive now that Max will leave Red Bull, as they're just not giving him a good enough car to win his 5th championship. Also in the world of motorsport, McLaren to enter the World Endurance Championship. For those that don't know, this is another motorsport category that's raced more in Europe countries. From 2027, McLaren will enter the hypercar class for the FIA World Endurance Championship. Some of these races you may know, they are the Spa 24 Hours, the Daytona 24 Hours, but most notably the Le Mans 24 Hour. This marks the return for the manufacturer joining the World Endurance Championship for the first time in 2 decades. McLaren will be joining Ford and Genesis in the new hypercar class. That is your burning rubber breakdown for the week. And now it is time to get into your fast fact for a pub chat. It's time to pull yourself a chair, pour yourself a drink. It is time for your fast fact for a pub chat. And with athletics news running hot at the moment, I thought this week's fast fact could be around the Olympic Games. Yes, I know it's still 3 years away, but hey, let's still get into the spirit of it, because why not get excited? Did you know that Australia is one of only 5 nations to have participated in every Summer Olympics in the modern era? Do you want to have a guess at what those other countries are before I mention them? 3, 2, 1. Yep, time's done. It's Great Britain, France, Greece, and Switzerland. Certainly wasn't the top 5 I was thinking of, but there is your fast fact for a pub chat this week. And now we have come to the final segment of this week's podcast. It is 3 sports I'm looking forward to this weekend. In netball, we have the top of the table clash, the Adelaide Thunderbirds taking on the New South Wales Swifts in Adelaide. For the Swifts, it's their biggest challenge yet of the season, with a chance to prove that they can take on the back-to-back champions. For the Thunderbirds, can they continue their momentum and stop the Housby-Wecky shooting combo from the Swifts? In the NRL, the Bulldogs will take on the Rabbitohs in their annual Good Friday clash. For the Bulldogs, they sit at the top of the ladder and will look to continue this momentum. For the Bunnies, they will look to put last week's upset against the Cowboys behind them to take on the boys from Belmore. Finally, in AFL, the top of the table Brisbane Lions will take on Collingwood at the Gabba in Brisbane. For Brisbane, in front of their home fans, they will look to build upon their unbeaten run so far this year. For Collingwood, they are showing no signs of their opening round horrors, and they will look to test themselves against the 2024 Premiers. And with that, we have come to the end of today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. We will catch you on the next play. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Sports Playbook. If you enjoyed this week's episode, please subscribe to the Sports Playbook wherever you get your podcast and share it with a friend who also might find it enjoyable. Thank you.